you all, welcome back to my channel. Today I am going to walk myself into a process from real life example, from what I'm currently going through in my life. I'll give you a little bit of a background story, but I don't know what's gonna happen. I don't know how it's gonna go. All I know is that, of course there's a background story to it, so I guess I'm gonna jump into it. I have been having some health issues coming up, especially around my hair falling out. And I really was like looking into it. I went to a dermatologist to take biopsy from my scalp, and I found that I have androgenic alopecia for women. And it's like a genetic symptom thing that's obviously genetic. A few months ago, I've been in this process for the past few months, and it's really interesting because all of that started coming up into my field after I processed a lot of sexual trauma. Like I was working on healing a lot of sexual trauma and like releasing a lot of that trauma from my body, and then next thing you know, it came up. So I did blood tests and it looked like I'm on the border of some kind of autoimmune disease. I remember meditating one time after I did the scalp thing, and I wanted to know, where did it come from? Because if it's something genetic, the way I see it in my world, it's a generational trauma or some genetic, it's like something that's being passed down from previous generations. It's either around generational trauma or generational programming. This is just the way I see autoimmune disease and, genetic, every time I hear people say, oh, we have it in our family, it's genetic. To me, in other words, it's like, oh yeah, it's a bunch of, trauma or programming that no one looked at for many, many, many years, for generations. And that's, if you're new here, that's what I talk a lot about in this channel, which is ancestral healing, generational trauma, generational programming, and all these things, and how we're holding it in our bodies for thousands of generations. So in this meditation I did once, I wanted to find, where did it come from? And the message that I was receiving was, it come from my grandpa from my mother's side. And the image that I had, it was like something when he drank the milk from his mother's, when his mother was breastfeeding him, that's when he picked up on this thing. And I kept having this image of like some kind of metal. And I didn't understand, I didn't really have it fully in my awareness, but all I knew is that there was something around that I didn't quite understand. And then I did a whole process where I was guiding myself through guided visualization to work on my hair follicles, because if you know, androgenic alopecia is basically where a lot of your hair follicles are dying. So they're not dead, but they're dying. So, this is kind of like where I'm at. There was a process that I did with myself when I walked myself into a process where I was healing. I was working on the hair follicles almost as if they were like human size, and I was like working on them, and I used assistance from Jesus Christ, Mary Magdalene, and Archangel Raphael. It was a really beautiful process. I remember Mary Magdalene gave me this green liquid to inject into each hair follicle that I was like working on in this process. It was all obviously through not guided, it was through visualization. It was kind of coming up, and I could just feel like they were not having a lot of oxygen, not having a lot of air, and I was like doing energy healing on them. So that felt good. But of course, I really like work with the energetic side of things, but of course the science side of things are really important too. So I went to this doctor here in Austin. He's a holistic doctor. He's freaking amazing. I got my blood test and he sat with me I was with him for like 2 hours. The first hour he helped me read my blood test. And the themes of the things that kept coming up through the blood test kept pointing to the same thing. And it was all kind of connected. So a lot of things around like I'm not able to digest my nutrients, especially protein, in a way that is like nourishing for my body. He told me, eat your food slower, even though I do eat slow. If you don't know, I used to be a fitness and nutrition coach, specifically helping with women overcoming negative relationship with food and body image. And one thing I always talked about was mindful eating, like really eat slowly, put your utensils down. But there's a like, just like everything in life, there are so many layers to everything. And to me, I could see a lot of improvement from what I used to be in the past around the way I'm eating, but still there was like lack of intentionality and lack of really being with the food, really connecting with the food that I'm eating on a deeper level. So I was aware of that. And so that was a thing that kept coming up, things around missing salt. So I was like low in sodium, so definitely adding that, and something related to adrenal glands, my adrenal glands, and as well as having high silver, like metal, high silver, that is like something that is, the silver one is, like the doctor said, it's a little bit less bad, I would say, than other type of metals, but it was still pretty high for me. And so what we're working on is bringing it down, making sure I'm digesting the nutrients, making sure I'm having more sodium, and just to kind of balance all of the things. But I could just see how everything that he was talking about in my blood test was kind of like all connected and kind of like all pointing to the same thing, that is all can affect the hair to fall out. But the main thing I wanted to say here is I asked him, because he's really intuitive and he's been doing this for over 20 years. And I asked him, because I'm still in a place where I'm learning to trust my intuition. And I asked him, like, I told him I had this meditation where it came up for me that it's from my grandpa, from my mother's side. And so he checked in and he said, yeah, you're right, it's from your grandfather's side. And then there was something around that I'm holding in my body, like some fear around, like scare, some kind of fear around being valuable. And he said that, and like some kind of fear in general that is not really mine, but I've been holding in my body. I've been taking it on from my grandpa. And also it reminded me, I could see the vision of like the metal that he was drinking in the milk, and it connected with me with the silver. And he also used to work at a metal factory, which all really made sense to me. Like everything kind of, all the picture was kind of connecting. So anyways, he was working on me, and then like left of my solar plexus, before he even said, oh yeah, there's something here, I could just feel like a sharp pain in the left side of my solar plexus, and that it's somehow connected to my grandfather. And then he was working on it, he did his energy work, he did his prayers and all these things, and I've been feeling this sharp pain more since that session. It almost feels to me like it was there all along, but I was not aware of it. And that's really how it works. We're holding so many things in our bodies that we're not even aware of, and we're holding it. And I felt like that encounter for me, especially around the metal, like the silver, I feel like it's definitely connected to this. It almost feels like this is where the silver is at. I know it's probably all over my body, but this is the spot where I really feel it. And if I'm really trying to feel into the sensation that I have in the left side of my solar plexus, it feels like it's a silver color, and it feels like it has this shape that it's almost like, not like a black hole, like open, but like almost like a black hole that it's like actually like a ball, if that makes sense. It's like almost like black hole that like went backwards and became a ball or something, and it's like silver in color. And I've been feeling it more and more. I mean, it kind of in and out. I just feel like I have a lot of space for it, because the way I know, I've been doing this work for a few years now, and I do know that the awareness is more than 75%. So it came into my awareness within my body, and I've been giving it space in the past week. And today I've been feeling called to put myself into a process and getting to know this like silver sensation in the left side of my solar plexus that feels like something from my grandfather, from my mother's side, which, by the way, the left side in this case is the feminine or the mother. So it's the left side of my solar plexus, which is the left side is my mother's side. And also it's associated with something around being valuable, insecurity, self-worth, which all of these things are associated with the solar plexus, as well as the root chakra. And it's interesting because I've been having some left hip sensitivity yesterday, which I definitely feel like it's all connected, it's all related. And even in the left side of in my sacral chakra, I've been feeling some sensations. So what I'm gonna do in this process, when I'm going to walk myself through, is I'm going to connect with that sensation, and just like I do with my clients and like I do with myself, is the process is to first identify it. So I feel like I have a texture, which is like a vortex of energy, like a black hole. It doesn't feel like I could put my hand through it. It feels like if I put my hand through it, it'll take my hand, you know, like a black hole. But it's like a ball, and it's silver, and it's like really sharp. It goes in and out. Like, it's not sharp in its shape, but it's sharp in its presence, if that makes sense. So now that I identify what it is, the next step that we're going to do, that I'm going to walk myself through, is I'm going to sit with it, asking it questions. I already kind of have a feeling where it came from. So I'm going to ask it other questions and see if it has any other insights, informations, or anything else that it wants me to know. Because it's clearly here, and I can clearly feel it and be aware of it and notice it. It's very not easy for me not to notice it right now. So yeah, we're gonna go into the process and we'll see what comes up. I have no idea what's gonna come up. We're gonna do this together. I usually like to start with a few deep breaths, just to drop myself into my body. So I'm definitely noticing the sensation on the left side of my solar plexus. And definitely in general, like the left side of my stomach and my hip and my leg is more like, I guess, more in the front, more noticeable. First step in the process, I'm gonna want to feel, how do I feel in my body toward this sensation? I feel a lot of empathy toward it. I feel like a lot of curiosity, a lot of giving space to this sensation, a lot of, you know, letting it be here, but also being curious about it, like wanting to learn, like why it's here, what it wants to show me. And the next step is I'm going to imagine that I'm sitting on a little bench next to this silver sensation, and I'm going to try to feel the vibe that I'm getting off of it. Like, what's the energy or the vibe that I'm getting from it? So the feeling is like, definitely like not enoughness. Like, it's a feeling of like, it's like consuming and consuming itself, but it really wants to like open up, but it doesn't know how. Like, I can feel like it wants to expand, but it doesn't know how. I'm trying to feel into if it's a masculine energy or a feminine energy, and what's coming up for me is more like a masculine energy, but it's not necessarily like, it doesn't feel like it's like controlling or needing to have power over, but it's more like fear. It's more like the image I have is just like kind of like going inside to it inside itself, and it keeps on consuming itself in a way, but it doesn't know how to like change this pattern. So the first thing that's coming up for me now is like this desire to just give it space to be here and be witnessed. Like, so instead of me trying to fix it or change it or wanting it to be different, I'm just holding it with my hands and just letting it be here, just like letting it be witnessed with empathy and love and care. I definitely feel a lot of movements in my stomach, in this left side. It's like I feel like a lot of things are moving, and exactly where I'm touching, in the left side of my solar plexus. It almost feels like it's adjusting to something different. There's a lot of power in like being seen and witnessed, and sometimes that by itself can shift a lot of the energy. So now it feels like, doesn't feel so consuming and so silver, like bright silver. It feels more like like a metal, like a gray, and it feels like a metal ball or something, like a really heavy small ball. It feels pretty apathetic, like very serious and very like the opposite of playful, very, yeah, very serious, very like heavy. So I'm gonna ask it, I was gonna ask it, where did you come from? But like the first thing that comes up is my grandfather. What I'm gonna ask if there's anything else around my grandfather that is even further, like a moment or a time or a situation that it came from specifically. Okay, so what I'm getting is that something happened to his mom when he was in the womb. I have this like very huge wave of chills in my body right now as I'm saying it. Like there was something that happened to his mom when he was in the womb that has created this phenomena. So I want to see what it's connected to. It feels like whatever it is that happened when he was in his mother's womb is related to something sexual. And that feels all I need to know right now in this moment. There's not any further information that wants to come through around that. The next thing I'm going to ask it is there anything you want to teach me? Is there anything you want to teach me? The thing that's coming for me right away is I see green grass. And what it brings up to me is two things. It brings up like Mother Earth, my connection to Mother Earth. And the other thing it brings up to me is my heart chakra, because green is associated with the heart chakra. So that's what it brings up to me right away. But let me ask it further question, like what exactly do you mean by that? So when you show me this is coming up. What exactly do you mean, or what really exactly you would like me to know here? The word that's coming up for me is compassion. It's compassion for myself, but also compassion for others. It feels like connecting more with the energy of this word, with the word compassion. Okay, so I'm going to ask it, how exactly can I connect more with the energy of compassion? So what's coming up for me is practicing it when I'm connecting with other people, practicing the energy of the word compassion when I'm connecting with other people, asking, where is my heart? Where is my heart? Just as I'm connecting with people, just to kind of notice, like, where is my heart and where is my compassion? Or what's my relationship to compassion in this moment as I'm connecting to people? Well, I'm getting a huge chills, so that definitely feels really important. Like my body feels really good right now. I feel like a lot of energy moving through my body, like from my legs up to my stomach and my head and my shoulders. So I'm going to ask it, is there anything else that you would like me to know? It just acknowledges me and my awareness to the sensations in my body and how I'm giving them space and learning to build a relationship with them and like learning to like learn from them and actually sit with them. And it's also what I do with my clients, but I feel like my body in this moment just acknowledging me and thanking me for doing that. It's like I really feel like how much it's like thanking me for like taking the time and like really sitting with it and asking it questions and and building relationships with it feels really important and even makes me emotional right now. Yeah, it just brings up a lot of gratitude, a lot of like I really feel the relationship with my body in this moment. Like I really feel the relationship. It's not just thinking about it or talking about it. It's like I really feel it. I could feel the relationship. Like I can feel how my body is so grateful for me to sit down and do it. And then one thing I always talk about too in these experiences, in these processes, is that sometimes just noticing the sensation and giving it space and asking it questions, sometimes that's the process. Sometimes that's what's important, to acknowledge the different sensations and different parts of ourselves that are coming up. So I'm going to ask it, is there any other way I can show up for you and support you? The word touch is coming up, like touching this area, like petting it, like loving it, sending it love. It's like touching it, but not just a regular touch or touch of like wanting to remove it, but like touch from the heart, like very intentional touch, like really feeling it, really being with it, really having compassion and empathy to it, which feels really important distinction than just like a regular touch, especially a lot of times when we have something uncomfortable within our bodies, we're trying to remove it or move it, or we don't want it. So it's very important here that the type of touch that it wants is like loving touch, is touch for care, is touch for we're friends now, there's a relationship. Like massage this area feels really good too. It's like just came up for me, and I'm literally now massaging the side of my solar plexus, the area that feels really much in pain. And it really makes sense to me because as I'm like massaging it right now, I can just feel how it's like a heavy, dense ball, kind of like going inside within itself. And I'm just like, you know how like when you feel like pain or when you get a massage and you're like, it's just kind of softening the muscles and it's kind of like creates expansion and like opening. So that's like the type of image that I have. So like massage and body work feels really important in this situation. But again, from a place of love and care and compassion and empathy. And another thing that's coming up for me, which is really interesting, is like seeing my grandpa. Like I have chills and like I'm getting a little emotional, but like growing up, I felt like he didn't like me. I always felt like I'm not worthy for him and that he doesn't care about me. And I guess what's coming up around that is like seeing his pain, because then he died. He died many years ago. I remember he died when I was, I don't know, probably early teenage years. I can see the energy of our relationship, even though he died, but the energy is still not super clean. Like there's still some tension there. So I guess like what's coming up for me is like to see him for who he is and like that he tried his best and that he did the best he could, and to learn to forgive him even though he died many years ago, but like to basically work on our relationship even though he's not around in a physical body anymore, but he's still around in spirit, or maybe he moved on or whatever. But there is an importance here to work on the relationship between us even though he's in spirit. So I feel called to like write him a letter, but I guess what I'll do instead is I can also talk to him. Like if I could tell him anything right now, what I would say is, I'm going to say it in Hebrew because we only spoke Hebrew. Obviously, if you don't know Hebrew, I would invite you to just connect with the energy of what I'm saying. Like you don't have to understand it in your mind. You can just like feel the words that I'm saying and feel the frequency of it and feel the emotions behind it, okay? So if I could say anything to my grandpa right now, what I would say is, סבא, איך שהתנהגת אליי ממש פגע בי. איך שהתנהגת אליי גרם לי להתכנס בתוך עצמי. פחדתי ממך, פחדתי להתקרב אליך. אני רציתי תשומת לב ממך, אבל תמיד הרגשתי שאני לא מספיק טובה. אני זוכרת שקנית לי את בובת נתנאל. אני זוכרת שקנית לי את הבובה. וכל כך התלהבתי, אני לא אשכח את היום הזה. הייתי ממש קטנה. זה היה הפעם היחידה שאני ממש זוכרת שהיה לי חיבור עמוק איתך. וזה היה כשהייתי מאוד קטנה. ואז עם הזמן כשגדלתי, הרגשתי שאם אני פשוט אהיה אני, זה לא יהיה בסדר. זה לא טוב. אז אני החלטתי לדחוק אותך, כמו שעשיתי עם הרבה אחרים, בגלל שאני לא רציתי לוותר עליי. אני אף פעם לא רציתי לוותר עליי. לא משנה מה, לא משנה מי. אני, מגיל מאוד קטן, החלטתי שאני לא אוותר עליי, לא משנה מה. אפילו אם כולם יוותרו עליי, אני לא אוותר עליי. ואני חושבת שאתה שנאת אותי בגלל זה. אני חושבת שהיה לך resentment אליי, כי אתה לא יכלת לעשות את זה, כי אתה לא עשית את זה. ואולי אני טועה. אבל זה מה שאני מרגישה עכשיו, וזה מה שעולה לי עכשיו. ואני זוכרת שלפני כמה חודשים התחברתי לאנרגיה שלך ואמרת לי שאתה גאה בי על העבודה שאני עושה. עכשיו שאני חושבת על זה, אני שמה לב שאני די הבדפתי את זה, למרות שזה מאוד נגע בי עמוק. כי זה מה שכל החיים רציתי לשמוע ממך. ולא רק ממך, גם מהבת שלך, מאמא שלי. רציתי שתהיה גאה בי. רציתי שהיא תהיה גאה בי. Are you here? I can feel you. And I want to ask for a hug. And I'm also giving back what I took on. I have a sense that you can help these energies transmute back into light. I know you can do it. It doesn't feel right for me in this moment to transmute these energies. It feels right for me to let you do it. And it feels like a gift. It feels like a gift. Oh wow, there's like so much movement, you guys. Like so much movement in my stomach. So by the way, if you didn't get it, my grandfather from my mother's side, he's definitely here right now in this moment. And we are connecting, and it feels really nice to have him here, like feeling his love for me and his support. So when I'm feeling into the sensation in the left side of my solar plexus, it feels a little higher. It feels like more borderline heart. And it feels like from like a, if it was like a metal ball, it feels like a dense smoke right now. Feels like a dense energy, like a dense smoke. And it's not stagnant, it's slowly moving. It's slowly moving towards the left side of my body. It moves that way, almost like dense clouds, but it's like dark gray, dense cloud that moving that way. And I feel like my grandpa is literally here, like helping me with that. So I feel like I'm just like, I guess, witnessing. I'm witnessing my grandpa. I'm witnessing my grandfather transmuted this energy that I took on. This is fucking crazy, you guys. I'm like blown away of this situation. I'm blown away by this moment. I feel so honored to witness, and I feel so honored to being able to work on this together with my grandfather. It's such an honor. I feel such an honor in my body to be able to transmute generational trauma with my grandfather from my mother's side. Wow, such an honor. Thank you, thank you, thank you. It's like, I'd say it's like 70% out of my body. It keeps on moving that direction. I literally feel like he's infusing love in my body, especially this area. I can feel his love. It's like all coming out from like right here. Like it's like my rib cage, the left side of my rib cage, like it goes this way and comes out this way. Okay, so the energy is going to continue to move for me in the next maybe 24 hours or so, more or less. Oh my gosh, that was, my entire body right now is like so much energy moving through my body. Like from head to toe. Like so much energy, like something opened up. I can feel something just opened up. And I've never done anything like this. I mean, obviously I've done stuff like that, but not like working with an ancestor at the same time consciously. This is the first time I've done it. Like we're actually working together with my grandfather and like being able to witness him and him witnessing me, and like we're co-creating, like moving this energy together. I have chills. I feel so honored. I feel so honored. I feel so honored. Thank you, thank you, thank you. This was so powerful. If you're someone that wanting to transmute generational trauma, you want to move certain energies, it can be anything that's manifesting in the mental realm and mentally, it can be emotionally, it can be physically, and it could be energetically. It could be a pattern, it could be relationships you're noticing in your life, whether if it's intimate relationships or relationship with money, a relationship with food, a relationship with your body, a relationship with yourself, a relationship with God, with the universe. We can work with all of these things with this process, going into the energy body, going into the energy centers, getting to know it, identify it, get to know it, start having a relationship with it, and then learning how to transmute it. And if you're someone that has anything like that going on in your life, if you feel called to check out my website. It's going to be in the description down below. If you feel called to start diving into this work together, there is an application form to fill out in my website, and I will look into what you're filling out, and if we're a good energetic match, then I'll reach out to you. I do sessions obviously here in Austin, Texas, right here, and or online. Actually, most of my clients are online. I have clients from Israel, and I have clients from a lot of areas in the world. And so that's definitely possible because the energy work works beyond time and space. So yeah, let me know in the comments if you have any questions, if there's something specifically that you felt drawn to, there's something that you resonate with in your own journey, there's something that kind of came up for you when I was going through the process. Please comment below, and also please make sure to like this video. It's really going to help me if you give me that support. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have an amazing day.